Nirali Bhatia. I'm a practicing psychologist. My area of specialization is cyber psychology, which is study of impact of technology on human mind and behavior. I also had a tech company which is into cybersecurity called V4Web Cybersecurities. And I also had an anti-cyberbullying organization, which is Cyberbullying, Awareness, Action and Prevention. And an acronym we use for that is Cyberbullying. So, and today we are looking forward to talking about how cyberbullying is escalating because of the data points that we are leaving, and what kind of privacy measures should we look at. So, over to you, Khushboo.
Thank you so much, Nirali. I think much needed topic, and with the kind of introduction, what you're doing, because cyberbullying and aspects with regard to stalking and bullying are very crucial and had to be dealt. These are practically human crimes. It has to be dealt. It has, apart from legal angle, it has a lot of emotional angle attached to it, and much has to be done on ground. And kudos to you for starting Cyberbullying. About myself, I'm a practicing advocate in Supreme Court of India. I also I'm a managing partner of a law firm called as Arc Legal, sometime doing a little bit in terms of data protection, privacy, and things in and around digital world and cyber laws and stuff like that. So I think the question which you were talking about is, yes, I absolutely agree that IT dependency of ours has increased every day. So to talk about, yes, digital technology has become an integral part of our lives, and any technology that can be used for a constructive purposes for making our life smoother also has an aspect of destructive purposes. And we cannot deny that, the positive aspect of it, and cannot positive role of cyberspace, and cannot just shut that aspect. But we need to learn how to navigate through that from social aspect, from how to understand things and how to, safeguard yourself preemptive, and also to understand what are the legal remedies available with you in case the preemptive measures are still not being taken care of and you are stuck into it. So I think that's a bang on topic that we have chosen upon. Over to you, Nirali.
So, we very rightly pointed out that we really cannot shut off this space. I mean, from our day-to-day communication to education, businesses, and even entertainment, everything is happening via the digital medium, and much largely through social mediums today. During the pandemic, at my organization, Cyberbullying, we saw the rise 100%, almost 100%. But pre-pandemic, I used to get cases, let's say in a week, maybe 5. Here in a day, 20 victims used to write to us. I mean, 20 is just an average number. I'm giving you more than 5,000 cases in last 2.5 years. While we have been, very actively guiding and counseling them in terms of do's and don'ts, that, this is how you maintain your privacy online on various platforms. But where we need to really have a little more insight is what I'm looking forward to hearing from you also today, that legally, what are the ways where, we can understand what are our rights as citizens, what are our rights as organization, and what are our rights as professionals as well. Also, I guess it would be nice to know, because now that we have been doing all these activities online, lot of evidence which is online. So very practically at the base, we are all taking screenshots. I mean, that's what we generally tell our victims also who approach us, that, hey, look, do not delete anything in fear or in anger. There are so many times where victims actually destroy that whole laptop because they are so scared of what's happening. But I think we must, throw that little light on it, that what all things make up to the evidence, and in very specifically. So what I'm looking at is that I've seen rise in cyberbullying, which is very, very largely around the verbal and sexual abuse that is happening in the online world. Then there is cyber stalking. This is very fascinating because half the times the perpetrators have not realized that what they are doing is actually stalking. So if we hear from you the legal definition which makes it stalking, that would also be great and helpful. And third thirdly, it is the crimes like sextortions, where you know, now it is very, very specifically targeted either towards men, young men, and also towards women. So, let's hear from you in terms of where or what are our legal rights at different levels.
All right. So, okay, what I understand is there are three aspects that you want in today's discussion to be covered. One is to understand what exactly are the contours of crimes which we are talking about. For example, you have talked about cyber stalking, bullying, or sextortion. What exactly do you understand from those terminologies? Then, what are the legal remedies available in case you're a victim about it? And the third aspect, which you were talking about, is evidence preservation as to what exactly immediately people have to do. This is like a first aid box, because you are the victim, you are the one who has to preserve those evidences. Next comes is, the aspect of lawyers, law enforcement agencies, or professionals or organizations like CyberPub and others. So the first one is the victim who has to preserve the evidences, because in case evidences are destructed or not being preserved in the right manner, the entire case, despite being a victim, goes away. So, okay, let's go with the flow, and maybe I would want your understanding also, because you have been on ground helping people, victims and part of it. So let's start from cyberbullying. What exactly cyberbullying is, and what are the acceptable definitions which can fit in. So talk about cyberbullying, I would say it's nothing but it's an act of posting, sending, or sharing negative, harmful, false, demeaning content regarding others. That practically covers the definition mota about cyberbullying. We don't have proper definition recognized about cyberbullying, but it's a combination of a lot of things. Now it can be used, if I talk about bullying taken from physical to the cyberspace, it can be used via devices such as cell phone, computers, tablets, services such as SMS, text, applications, social media platforms, any online forums, gaming platforms where people can view, participate, and share content. So these are the basics you need to have as a content to cover anything in terms of cyberbullying. So what exactly happens in what is the modus operandi to be put it? See, posting of nasty or a humiliating content or comments about an individual online, creating a fake profile or of another individual. Now, posting humiliating is a punishable offense. Second, that's defamation. Second, publishing embarrassing photo or a video, again, is a punishable offense under IT Act and IPC. There are specific sections that deal with that. Section 292 of IPC talks about that. It recognizes, and there's a punishment to it. IT Act talks about Section 67 and ABC, which talks about that these contents, explicit contents, cannot be posted. Now, creating of a fake profile of another individual is a punishable offense, again, in IT Act. Then what exactly are the ways people can use to bully you? They can, online threat can be done by provoking an individual to harm or kill himself or hurt someone else. Next, which they can do it is they can trigger your religious or racial or ethnic or political aspects online by posting or commenting or creating any kind of content and putting it. Again, it's a punishable offense recognized in IT Act and IPC. Using others' identity online to ask for a post, either personal or a fake, demeaning, embarrassing information about someone. The next comes is repeatedly harming a player's character, asking for monetary exchange, ganging up on a player using personal information to make direct threats. And the rest, which all of us see, posting online stories, pictures, jokes, cartoons that are intended to embarrass or humiliate others, which we see every day happening over our platforms. So I would say that hacking someone's email, social media accounts, or sending any posting or embarrassing content pretending to be a victim whose accounts have been hacked is a punishable offense and is very well fit into your definition of cyberbullying, and it can be done for many reasons. But at the same time, the target can be anybody. It can be you, me. It can be an organization. It can be a high-profile individual whose motive can be hatred, can be a revenge. It can be nothing but a commercial gain. It can be a combination of lot of things. Women can be a target, colleagues can be a target, schools can be a target, institution can be a target. Large corporates are becoming a target. We have been seeing that trend a lot, that they pick up directors, pick up organizations, institutions, bully them over there so that they can extort some side of money, or they can be to kill the business, or to damage the reputation of those organizations. So I think these are the ways which can be done to maybe, if you fit into this definition, yes, very well. Cyberbullying, you might narrate some example that what exactly happens over there, and then we may go to next, which is your harassment, and then go to revenge porn. So I would ask you that if you can give us one example so that people can relate and understand what exactly happens when cyberbullying happens. Over to you.
So while you very beautifully explained and tried and given us a very clear picture that what all accounts to the cyberbullying, but we've come across so many victims, yet never ever their cases are similar. So it becomes practically very difficult to identify at an individual level whether I'm going through or I'm being victimized for which particular crime. So let me share an example with you here. A very young girl, I mean, barely in her early 20s, she's been victimized online, and once I share the case, I would want to know from you that what exactly should we address it to, because it falls under so many definitions. Now, in this case, somebody has created a fake profile of hers on a pornographic website and has been impersonating her and chatting on those websites with the visitors over there, sharing her number, sharing even her personal address, and chatting and inviting them over to her place. And when she came to know, it was like a huge shock, because she started getting all these calls from random people asking for that, hey, you only shared your number and you wanted to talk something naughty, and when can I come to your place? Thanks for giving me your address. And it was a huge shocker. So while emotionally she was completely devastated, scared, angry, a mixed bout of emotions, but her first question to me was like, what do I do? So at an emotional level, mental level, immediately what all can be done in terms of how can she report to these platforms online, all those things we have taken care of, while we helped her go through that, manage it emotionally well, pull herself together, and now look at it from practically and legally fighting it across. So that's where let's take this example and let's hear it from you that legally now what can be done.
Okay, so what you're doing is there's a combination of impersonation, identity theft, then forcing you to do things which are not contacting you for means which are not legal or which are derogatory.
Absolutely.
It can be a combination of lot of acts. Let me put in law, and then let me go to the part that what immediately you can do. So you have to understand these all are punishable offense. They are in and out combination in IT Act and IPC, and punishment ranges from 1 year to, if it's a repetitive, it goes to 5 or 7 years also. If it's a first crime, it's 3 years imprisonment. If it's a second time, it's 5 years, or in some cases it's 5 and then 7. So all you're talking about, all of these are recognized punishable offenses under different sections. It can be identity theft, impersonation, it can be section 67, it can be indecent representation of women, it can be asking for favors which you're not. Now we have to understand with your example that if it's happening over a platform, one is very rightly said by you that there is a reporting mechanism in each and every platform that they put it across. So immediately go and put it across. Now, what you have to do in that is maybe choose a very clear thing that what exactly falls under what. They have got a lot of scenarios.
Yes.
The thing to do it is take a screenshot. Second is take a URL. Whenever you take a screenshot, correct. Now also when you see a very small thing. So why don't you click on it and take an entire URL? That's like literally an exact address of those places what you're challenging about. So take those. Apart from that, what you can do is take a time, with time, if you can take a screenshot, that also you can do it. Now, with that report, which you do it in social media platform, practically there are some aspects which platform take care of it immediately. They have a very strict policy against them. There are some which they don't recognize or they don't understand or they don't act upon. In all the scenarios, another thing which you can do is you can go on cybercrime.gov.in.
Right.
That's another platform created by Government of India where you can go. There you have an option of being anonymous or sharing your details. You can be anonymous and still post a lot of things so that things can be taken care of. The other can be you can very well file a complaint. Now there also they have a format which you have to follow. Just remember a few things. It cannot be 10-pager of a complaint for somebody to understand. But if your matter is that big, yes. So very relevant information you have to put it across in terms of what constituted a complaint. And in that cybercrime.gov.in, you can attach a lot of attachments like, what URL you had or screenshot you have taken or any other information you have. Put it across all those things and put a complaint on cybercrime.gov.in and it can be taken care of from there. The third which you can do is you can call 1930. That's a number and you can put your complaints over there and very well put it across. Fourth, you can go to your nearest police station. If you're in metro cities, practically you have cyber cells also dedicated, but nonetheless, police stations also have a cyber cell in those police stations who are dealing with cyber related aspects. So you can go to the nearest police station and put across your complaint in those things.
Well, of course, there's a lot of reporting that an individual has to do. The unfortunate part is that in the cyber world, it does not stay only on one portal. Even in this victim's case, when we looked up, within days, it was across 30, 40 odd portals, So there was a lot of work that she had to do. And every time a victim is looking at that kind of content, it is like a virtual, impact. Which, like, to be very honest, these kind of crimes give you a sense of being virtually raped. The impact is that severe on the victims. While this is at an individual level, I came across a particular client who is an employee or at a senior management level, and on LinkedIn. There was a young girl who started maligning him and who started accusing him of harassment. While we understood from the case that she used to work with them about almost 6-8 months prior, and she was no longer working with them, yet she was now alleging that, while she was working, she was being harassed by this particular gentleman online. And since LinkedIn is our business platform where we have professional contacts and, any of these kind of allegations, straight away, not only it's just a personal defamation, but it also can impair your professional reputation as well. What I would also like to know from you is, in this case, what should be the role of management when they see that, someone senior at their organization is being maligned online, is being harassed online, and even the person who is alleging is also or was also part of their organization. So at the end, there is organization, which is the common link. So do you think that there is any kind of responsibility, whether it is legally, of course, morally there is, but socially and legally, what kind of intervention can we expect from management?
Okay. It's quite a question, but I agree with you completely that these things are prevalent. And to go to a little background, see, things were happening a lot in workplace. Hence the requirement came up that we need to come up with, the Vishaka judgment came up with guidelines which pave way to the creation of the act, which is called as Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition, Redressal Act of 2013, which became part of it, and things have started. Since then, now what happened is this workplace harassment has moved to online also, because sexual harassment at workplace is not restricted just to the four walls, but also to the online space also, if it's coming out of the same office. But I completely agree with you, and that's the irony which we all are facing now. What can be done is organizations now, or directors and everybody, have to keep in mind now that this specific act has now been misused a lot. And one case of misuse where a innocent person is being tried under faces a lot of trauma. His entire future depends on that, not just personal, but also a professional future depends on it. Because there have been latest judgment, I think in Madras or Kerala High Court, if I'm forgetting, where right to be forgotten was being put in by the court.
Yes.
And right to be forgotten was just on this, that this means one of the old case was coming up, and hence that had an impact on his current position as in that organization, and actions were being taken. So he said, I was free in that case, so hence this should be deleted and I should have a right to be forgotten. Now, what happens with sexual harassment is none of the organizations want to have somebody who have anything pending in this regard, because they want their organizations to be extremely clean in that aspect. Hence, that let's not intervene only, let's keep the person out. But that has a lot of repercussions on that person. Now, other irony that comes is women are also not being taken up. People don't want women to be in their close working group, because they feel if I say anything, it might turn up in a scenario that it comes to a level where they would say that, okay, I'm being harassed or I'm being asked for certain things. The definitions are very vague. So what I would say is maybe keep few things in mind for an individual when you're working in an organization where it is co-working, as to keep things very strictly professional, keep a lot of things in writing rather than just verbal. I know it is not practically possible in day-to-day working life, but as much as possible, restrict it to working hours. If anything is beyond working hour, maybe put that in emails, and let that be not just one-on-one conversation if it's beyond the scope of specific time period, but let more people be part of that conversation so that it's not one-on-one conversation. Now, what companies should keep in mind, or organizations should keep in mind, is to do a fair investigation in this rather than shying away or getting rid of it in a manner that it might impact that organization has not taken a proper stand against the women. So I think that aspect they also should keep in mind, that proper investigations are being done, and maybe create a proper flow chart in the organization that how work has to be or communication has to be in an organization, so that evidences are proper in those organizations in case something like that happens. They also have to keep in mind that has something else happened in the past which has led to such kind of a complaint. Because if that has happened is where one can collaborate, and it has to be looked together. Now, the fourth thing which can be looked upon is which still not an answer, but is a thing which all of us should ponder upon, is this writing on social media platform and just demeaning somebody or defaming somebody and tagging everybody around creates a lot of agony and repercussions and damage to the individual.
I think to both of them.
Absolutely. So not use this as a card to play around, but this should be used very cautiously, because there are women who are genuinely being harassed and who have to do it and who have to raise a voice because they can't. So please use that sparingly or in a genuine case only. This should not be utilized like that. IPC does talk about that in case you file a case which turns out to be it was false and it was done. A lot of times sextortion has also been part of it, or these kind of acts, then action can be taken against them also. But the irony is, I'm talking non-legal here, I'm talking personal view here, is the irony is these matters, when they go, they have to complete a trial. So till the time trial happens, practically the professional life and personal damage has been done to that person a lot. Now, immediate, in case something like that happens, please ask social media not to do that, because without any legal basis, such content should be taken down. You may personally write. Second, you can take a court order. You can file a suit in court that such action is without any basis, without any evidences. Hence, there should be a global takedown order, or there should be an order for restricting that content to be spread online. You can make these platforms as a party and say, if you don't know who's posting against you, so you can make a John Doe order and say that I don't know, it's against unknown entities, so this should be taken down, and you can take that order, and that order can be sent to the various platforms. And if it's in global, you can take a global order also, that not just Indian jurisdiction, but across this should not be there, because the matter is prejudiced or pending and things are being done. So this is immediate you can do to at least limit the damage which can be done online.
Yeah, that was a very relevant point that you made, that, because now with the social media platform being a global platform, uh, there is a need of, global order coming in, because we don't know where all it is being projected. And so from what you explain, I understand that yes, organization will still have to play a role, even if it is between two people who are part of that organization and it is on social media. And I also have come to this understanding that today there is a need, not just the guidelines on in terms of POSH Act, which is again prevention of sexual harassment against women, but also organizations need to invest in proper guidelines on the usage of social media, code of conduct, redressal mechanisms when these kind of things happens, and also include a clause which talks about their responsibility in helping people who are going through this emotional distress caused because of the harassment, whether it is in the offline world or in the physical world at the organization. Of course, now the cyber angle is part of every single activity. Even when it is, two people in the physical environment, there is still a digital or a technology use. So cyber angle is everywhere, and hence the need of cyber policies are very, very important. So, Khushboo, I would love to share this particular case with you. It typically is a stalking case, but yet very different. And so this gentleman, he works with an organization, and he meets a particular individual from the other vendor organization for a work purpose. And after a few days or weeks, he actually looks up on Facebook for that particular lady who he had met from the vendor organization, and he starts sending her message on the Facebook that, hey, hi, do you remember me? The lady does not respond, so he continues sending her the messages. And she finally writes to him that, hey, hi, I do remember you, and thank you. That's all. And now this person does not really understand that, what should he infer out of this. So he continues sending her messages. When he does not get reply, he starts calling over this social media platform. And then next what happens is that he gets a notice from this woman saying that she's feeling harassed and she's feeling stalked over here. Now, when this the organization had approached me in order to understand that what was happening over here, because the person who was being accused was emotionally very, very feeling very devastated, and guilt and even embarrassment of what happened, because according to him, his intent was only of keeping in touch and saying hi and hello. But then when the notice came to him, it really shook him up, and so he was not in that frame of mind. And so naturally we did help him with counseling and the guidance, and of course what needs to be done immediately at the social media platform. But let's hear from you. What is your take in terms of legally, how do we look at this?
See, you've asked a very valid question, because when we talk about cyber stalking, it actually is a combination of a lot of things. It can be where to fit in and what definition you should fit in, and what all sections can be imposed on you, whether it's a criminal offense recognized in the Indian laws or not. Also, as a combination, intent of the person, what's constituting. See, it can be combination with stalking can be combination of impersonation, identity theft. It can be indecent representation. He can capture some things and put it across and do those things. He can follow you. So I think after that Nirbhaya case which happened, in IPC made a lot of amendments where section 3D came up, where cyber stalking also was being part of normal stalking. Cyber also became part of it, and now it's a punishable offense. So if I talk about Indian Penal Code, it's recognized. Like 354D of Indian Penal Code talks about cyber stalking, and it's a punishable offense. Then the combination which I was talking about can be section 67, 67A, B, 72, 72A. They talk about indecent representation of women, or if you're posting something which is ideally you should not, or it's combination of things. It's a blanket, and I'm glad that it is available to all of us to put it across, and you have to see with case-to-case basis what definition fit in. Because, Nirali, sometime back, whenever we used to go, I think you must have also faced it, people could not put in, to get a basic FIR registered was also a difficulty when we talked about stalking. To understand the definition of stalking, once you understand the definition of stalking, to make the other side understand that this stalking is practically, online stalking is a punishable offense and is recognized in Indian law. So hence the FIR should be registered, or some action should be taken against this perpetrator, because a stalker can go to any level if it's not stopped at the basic.
Right. True. So, of course. What you're sharing is a very, very classic example with the motive. While the case that I worked on, this was an accidental stalking. This gentleman never had that kind of intention. So yet look at the way the cyber world works. The lady felt intimidated because without any prior notice, he directly was calling her. He tried audio call, he tried video call, he thought maybe she's not getting his messages. So I feel that there is a huge gap in cyber education, in understanding proper cyber etiquettes, whether we start at a base at school level and educate children, and even at the organization level where now it's time to educate people on digital communications. What medium to use for what kind of communication is very important. Otherwise, this is how you can also fall into trouble. Like just this gentleman fell into trouble and he became an accidental stalker. He was shocked to read that word, that, oh my God, am I being labeled as a stalker over here? But this is what is happening on a day-to-day basis. On LinkedIn, we come across so many such instances on a regular basis where somebody starts sending you a direct message, asking for your number directly. Now, this all could be, invasion of our privacy, making us feel intimidated, and hence the scope of bullying is coming across at every single level. What are the legal bindings over here as individual as well as organizations? In both aspects, when I am sharing my data and when I'm collecting.
All right. So let's start with collecting of the data as an organization level. So there are 9 principles of privacy which have to be taken care. So those 9 principles should be your basis for any company of your opening where you have involvement of taking any kind of data. So those 9 principles of privacy have to be taken in mind, and it should be that these are the one which you have to take it. So to define what are the principles, one is consent. That the consent of the person whose data you're taking, or what exactly you are intending to do it. So take a consent of those people. The second that comes is lawfulness, whether you're taking it in a legit manner or what exactly it is. Now the next that comes is apart from consent and all, is safety and security. Safety and security is when you take somebody's data, whether your security measures are uptight because somebody is trusting you with that data. So safety and security is another aspect of it. Then comes this data collection, purpose for the collection, and limitation. These are the 2 other principles. So when you talk about purpose of collection, I would say, let's say you're an organization which is Uber. So access to your location while you're using the app, while you using the Uber is very much necessary. I practically cannot book an Uber without having a location in place. True. So that's necessity, and there is a purpose. So collection purpose is there.
So for all of you who are looking at getting your applications built and you want them to be secure and very well taken care in terms of data privacy, you know who to reach. V4Web Cybersecurity is the place. However, what I understand overall is that, of course, driving the car is much easier than being online to do. As simple as that. Because once I learn the car rules or the road rules, they're not changing. But in an online world, there's a lot changing and changing too fast. different websites are having different requirements, different apps are having different requirements, and they're too short-lived, and there's too much to read and too much to be vigilant about. But nevertheless, it is going to be our responsibility. Like Khushboo mentioned, that if something like this happens to you, the first and the foremost thing that you do is take your evidences. Do not start believing that it is your fault alone. It is the nature of cyberspace, and there are flaws. It's not a perfect place to be in, so it's not always your fault. And the most important aspect is, do not shy away from talking about it. Seek professional help. That is one thing where we all shy away from, and we do not talk about it, not realizing that what we are inviting over here are all to cater to invisible wounds of the internet world. So having someone to talk to is very important, someone who's not going to judge you. But overall, to summarize, what I understand is, at every level, at individual level, organization level, professional level, our data and its privacy is first our responsibility, and then there are steps and measures where legally we can seek help and support. While if any of you have been victimized, or if your loved ones have been victimized, you can approach my organization. We do offer counseling and guidance. We handhold in making these kind of complaints, registering complaints online, and help deal with it and move on in your usual daily routines. And of course, please add on to that how we can reach you.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the immediate you should reach is Nirali and her organization to understand, so that at least emotional and damage can be lessened, and at the same time you can act prudently. The second you can do is, there are, as I said, first one is you yourself can safeguard yourself with the reporting mechanism given by the platforms. But nonetheless, keep in mind, evidences have to be preserved in a manner. Do not delete. Closing eyes will not solve any purpose, and it can be dealt in a proper manner. And hiding doesn't make sense. Yes, you can very well do it. Either you can be anonymous. There are specific cells who deals with such crimes where your identity is not disclosed. Plus, even courts take into account that there are certain things which are too crucial, which need not come in public, are being taken care of. Other thing which you can do, if something has happened, immediate orders can be taken from the court, in terms of taking down, in terms of taking a stay order for specific things not to circulate, because we are talking about online world where things spread at the speed of light. So much damage can be done instantly. So the best is maybe approach the court for taking specific relief in certain scenarios. The third which you can do is, there might be institutions who have been attacked, there might be organizations who can be attacked, there are places which are unknown, but there are things who are known. Once the investigation is done, so that will help you out to have a proper evidence preservation, and once that is done, you can go and take action against those perpetrators. So for that also, you should have the entire process in place, and things can be done so that you are not victim of those things again. Second, those predators do not do those things again and again, because they are scot-free. They are behind those screen of theirs and not approachable, maybe for the reason of anonymity and privacy shield given to them, and we are too not bothered to go against that. So I think all of that combines, which gives them lot of courage to keep on committing crimes again and again. So I think all of us together have to come, which is you by having awareness, creating preventive measures. Once if something still goes wrong, because cyber crimes are here to stay, you cannot eliminate, and they're always a step ahead of you. So after that, maybe take care of organizations who help you out, like Cyberbullying and others, and at the same time take care of, if the crime is such, take care of law firms, lawyers who can help you out, law enforcement agencies who can help you out, and overall combat that. As I said, there are portals by the Government of India, that is cybercrime.gov.in, where you can register your complaint and still be anonymously put a complaint, so that things can be taken care of. If you see something which has not happened with you, but you see that this is happening, like for example impersonating government institute or organization, so I think in nutshell, I think we have to work together and create a amazing cyber world for us, which just is good for us. Do not get into that destructive mode.
Right. So together we can help you in spreading awareness as we do conduct cyber safety trainings and workshops, and help in drafting the cyber policies, which are a must for all organizations. So thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Khushboo. It has been lovely interacting, and let's look forward to a safe cyberspace. Thank you.
Likewise, Nirali. It was wonderful talking to you.